Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Adrian from over here at PipeDreamHookah, and welcome to March of 2018. Few quick updates before we get into today's review. One, last week we did not have an episode of The Pipeline, and the reason for that is I've gotten some feedback from everybody, and I think it's probably about time to take The Pipeline out of beta and start to implement some of the ideas I had for it. Once I start the first season of it, it's going to be a little bit longer probably. The editing is going to be a bit different, and I'm working on a background, but I really wanted to launch Season 1, Episode 1, so I'm going to be doing that next week. The reason it's not happening this weekend is actually because I'm going to North Carolina to meet up with some cool people in the hookah industry, I guess. Oh, and also I wanted to let anyone who maybe isn't already over there watching our videos at the AM Hookah podcast that I do with Matt Deason from over at the Matt Deason Hookah channel, where he does reviews just like me. Last week we had this awesome guest. His name's Derek Moses. He makes sweet hoses. And we're giving one away in the podcast. And all the information is going to be in the description over at that episode of the podcast. I'm going to drop a link for that one too. But I don't want to keep this one grinding on too long. I've got a lot of editing to do. I've got a lot of videos that are getting ready to come down the pipeline. So let's go ahead and get in today's review. And that's actually going to be on the Ugly Grape flavor. Now, quick note about Ugly. Now, I think it's about maybe like a month ago at this point that you guys probably saw that I did an unboxing for a bunch of Ugly that Jim sent out. And I didn't do any of the reviews that I said I was going to do from that series. And the reason for that is going to be that I was pretty unimpressed. I've had Ugly before, and it didn't stack up to what I was used to for Ugly hookah tobacco. The cut was super choppy. It really took too much heat in my opinion. It never got up to that sweet spot where it was producing these awesome clouds, and the flavor profiles were not nearly as accurate and rich as they were in previous batches of Ugly I had. So I talked to him, and Jim actually agreed with me. There were some other people in the community saying, yeah, this seems to be the case. So Jim went ahead and did a new batch and sent out some of his tobacco because he tends to agree with all of us, and we got this new batch, and I'm reviewing it because I think it's much better. Now, there's going to be no bowl packing tutorial or anything, or an overview on the cut or anything like that, because that's a different video. I really just wanted to get one of these Ugly reviews out for you guys before I go on my little vacation this weekend, because I won't be able to record or edit for about 4 days. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and start with the review on this Ugly Grape, starting as usual with the scent of the tobacco. Alright, I'm really only getting my face so close for the sake of the video, so it looks like I'm actually smelling it, but you guys do not have smell-o-vision, so you guys can't smell what I'm smelling, but this is a potent scent. As soon as you crack this open, the entire room pretty much just smells like the Ugly Grape. Now, what does it smell like exactly? It smells like grapes. Not necessarily the most realistic grape scent, because I'm sure you've noticed that grapes don't have a super pungent scent, at least not the ones I get over here in Michigan. They're pretty watery, and with the skin on the grape, it's kind of hard to get that scent. What it does smell like to me is kind of a weird mix between, like, I want to say a red wine, but I don't drink very much red wine, and maybe a purple Jolly Rancher, if that makes any sense. Now, it doesn't really smell candied, but I think that's where he's kind of pulling the flavor profile from, or should I say the scent profile from, because it's got to have some type of flavor and scent, because grapes, I don't think a natural grape flavor is going to translate too well into the smoke of a shisha tobacco, but we're going to find out when we get into the flavor part of this video. But first, let's check out the cloud content. Okay, so these clouds are obviously going to be awesome. They're going to be really thick, nice, and dense. They're not going to be as large as some of the clouds that I've been able to pull out of Ugly. That's probably because I've been smoking this bowl a little bit too long. We're actually like at the 45-minute mark. These are actually flats. Normally I'd use cubes, but I went with 4 titanium flats today because of the size of the bowl I'm using. I'm using an OG Rook bowl, but this one has a pretty big spire, so there's not quite as much tobacco as I'd normally pack as far as Ugly goes. But yeah, provided you had a little bit more heat on there, the clouds would be pretty much the same thing you just saw, just a little bit bigger. But now we got to get on to the important stuff. Let's go ahead and check out the flavor profile on this Ugly Grape, and as usual on this channel, we're going to check out the flavor profile on both the inhale and the exhale, because I find that the flavor profiles on the inhale and the exhale tend to differ just a teeny little bit. Okay, so if there's one thing I can say right off the bat is this flavor is probably not going to be for everybody because it is extremely robust. It's very pungent and it's kind of in your face. This isn't a light smoke by any means. What I'm really getting on the inhale does a very good job of representing what I get when I open the container up and smell it. It's going to be this really nice pungent grape flavor, and it's not going to be artificial, and it's not really going to be natural either. It's like a mix between this like Jolly Rancher grape Kool-Aid flavor and what I think a natural grape flavor would be if it was translated into shisha tobacco. It's actually kind of hard to explain, but if you've ever had a grape shisha tobacco and you're like, damn, this is good, this tastes a lot like grapes, that's what I'm getting from this. I've had some bad experiences with grape hookah tobacco. I'm not going to name names, but there's one brand who is known for putting out these batches of grape tobacco that doesn't taste very good. It tastes like ketchup. But that is not the case with this stuff. It's going to be a very potent grape flavor. Like I said, straddling the line between artificial and natural, if that makes any sense at all. But as soon as you smell it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a rich, great flavor, and the flavor is like right there in your face. There's really no way to get confused about what the flavor that you're smoking is from the flavor of the tobacco. That said, let's go ahead and move on to the exhale, see if anything changes. Okay, so honestly, there's not a really big change in the flavor profile from the exhale to the inhale, or the inhale to the exhale, I guess is what it would be. You're really getting the same flavor. If there's any changes, the first one's going to be that the flavor potency comes down just a little bit, and that's pretty typical of most shisha tobaccos. And then the more natural part of the grape flavor is going to be a little more prominent. It tastes a little bit less sweet, but for the most part, you're going to get the same flavor. Really quick before I wrap this up, let's talk about a few other key things that go into this tobacco that aren't the flavor, the scent, or the cloud content. First of all, heat resistance. He seems to have nailed the heat resistance this time around. It takes a lot of heat, like Ugly should be able to, but it doesn't really have that thing that the last batch did, where like you put the heat on, it never get up to heat, you add that fourth cube, and all of a sudden, bam, it's burning. Also, we'll get into this in a later video, but the cut is very nice. It's leafy, but it's not choppy. It's a nice medium cut. Oh, and really quick, for anyone who hasn't smoked Ugly, as far as longevity goes, in this bowl, 2 rounds of cubes. If I was using 3 titanium cubes is what I would typically use in a bowl. If I had the bowl I wanted to use clean, had to kind of get this video going in a hurry because I got things to do today. Mostly editing a bunch of videos that were supposed to come out like a week ago. But yeah, this stuff's gonna go for 2 rounds of coals no matter how you cut it. I'm using 4 flats. It's gonna take another 4 flats. And if I was using 3 cubes, it would take another 3 cubes. 2-hour session, no problem. Now I'm gonna go ahead and rate this stuff on the 7 scale for you guys so you have an idea of what I think of it as a total kind of full picture. So take into account the scent, the flavor, the cloud content, and all the other miscellaneous kind of topics of conversation I just brought up. I'm going to go ahead and give this a solid 5 out of 7. Now the only reason I'm not going to give it like a 6 out of 7, a little bit better of a score, is going to be because A, I'm actually not the biggest fan of grape flavors, I'm finding out. This is the best grape flavor I've personally ever had. I don't think a lot of people really nail the grape flavor. That's just a personal opinion of mine though. But I don't think I'm in a great flavor, so I haven't been enjoying this one as much. That said, it's tolerable. I can actually smoke this and enjoy the session, so take that for what it's worth. And I want to leave some leeway because I've got 5 other Ugly reviews coming out, and I really like some of the other flavors, so I wanted to save those 6 and 7 spots for those flavors. So you have some like point of contrast to look at when you're looking at these different reviews. And the reason it's not going to dip below a 5 is because it performs very, very well. You have to tinker with the heat a little bit. Ugly does take a very specific type of heat management. We'll go over that when I do a video that I'll be releasing going over how to pack Ugly and some of the other properties that go into the tobacco. And obviously the sessions are great, you get good long time, and it's really easy to pack, so I can't let it dip below a 5 at all. If I was using the 10 scale, for instance, this would probably be like a 7.5, but we've avoided that for reasons I've gotten into in past videos. That's just gonna about cover it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next week if I have the time. Hopefully I'll have a video edited to go up this weekend while I'm out doing not work things. I hope you guys all have an outstanding weekend because I won't see you Friday. And as always, everybody, happy smoking.